Welcome to the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast. Join us around the pit as we talk all things barbecue. Now here is your host, Johnny Maggs.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast, episode 402, coming to you live from the Uncle Steve Shake Studios in Center Bonstead, New Hampshire. It's a podcast where we talk everything barbecue and a lot of other topics that you normally talk around the pit. Oh, what's going on, everybody? Depending on when you wanted to start celebrating it, or, it's tomorrow, but we kicked it off this weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Getting that old corned beef and cabbage rolling. And, man, let me just say, last week I was joined by Chris, one of the owners of Tragmar Ale Works in Bristol, Rhode Island, and Jeff and Jared from Waypoint Barbecue. And just want to thank them all for inviting me down to help out with the festivities on Saturday. Absolute blast! Incredible people, incredible beer. Food was amazing. If I peel a carrot anytime soon, it will be too soon. But hey, that's what we got to do to feed the masses, right? But good time had by all, and thank you guys for having me. All right, let's see. I know Daddy Dutch was first in, followed by Tom. Both of them giving me hell for not being late. Let's see, patiently waiting. Then, Tom, you have about another 20 minutes. 7:05, you are correct. Funny guys. And there you are, brother. And crazy internet. I have a question for Andrew. As a recovering Californian, was it a big shock to realize that taxes don't have to be so high and that meat doesn't grow on trees? Oh, they're at you already, brother. Joe's Meat Market, what's up, Gabriel? Judge Wep, what's happening? Larry Vaughn, afternoon from South Jersey. Daddy, what's happening? Nice. All right, guys, let's get into it. Tonight's episode brought to you by Uncle Steve Shake. What can I say, guys? America's favorite uncle. Uncle Steve prides himself in quality and freshness. Always small batch. He wears all the hats. He's mixing the shake, bottling, labeling, packaging, shipping. He's answering emails. He's answering phone calls. He'll call you if he has a question. If you have a question, flavor profiles, shoot him a message, give him a call. He's more than happy to have a conversation with you, help you out with any questions you have, and just wants your experience to be perfect. From the original, the thick meat, the gator shake, the competition line, the magic ribs, mi amigo, the new pizza shake, the dessert shake, the sauce with no name. It goes on and on and on. Like I said, he strives on freshness. If you order right now, your order will probably be mixed probably tomorrow. So by the time it arrives on your door, it is the absolute freshest product out there. Check him out at UncleStevesShake.com. Follow along on Facebook at Uncle Steve Shake Nation. Remember, folks, Uncle Steve Shake, shake some on everything. Also brought to you by Joe's Meat Market, the diamond of Royce City, Texas. Gabriel and his crew do an amazing job. Day in, day out, it never stops. The protein selection out of this world. You need a specific thickness cut, he's got you. Are you looking for something he might not carry? Gabriel will work with you to get it in. Produce, fresh, brought in daily. For all us competition guys and backyarders, he's got us covered too. Multiple lines of rubs, seasoning, sauces, injections, marinades, including the Joe's Meat Market house line. I believe he's up to 17 or 19 himself. Um, check that out. And if you feeling a little hungry, he's got you covered too. Gabriel's mom's behind the counter, whipping up some of the freshest cuisine out there. So grab a plate, grab a bowl, sit down with the boys, make a new friend, and always specials running. Like I said, past week or two, same thing. T-bone steak, 10 to 12 ounce steaks, $5.99 each. That's it. Out the door. Filet mignon wrapped in bacon, $5.99 each. All the steak comp guys, prime rib eyes ready to go. And now announcing in a Joe's Meat Market an official dealer of Nomad Charcoal. So get your charcoal going. Beautiful, great lump charcoal. Burns hot, burns long. Check that out. Available now at Joe's Meat Market. So if you're ever in the Royce City area, swing on by. Tell Gabriel and the crew I sent you. Remember, folks, Joe's Meat Market for the win. Oh, Greg Pino, what's happening? There's Uncle Steve. What's going on? The Moose Barbecue, what's happening? Absolutely, absolutely. All right, thank you guys for all tuning in. Let's kick it off, man. Uh, Making his triumphant return. Uh, you know him for years now, the grill sergeant himself. You know, the boys were already breaking his stones, but the Texas boy through and through. I don't care where you originally kicked it off. But, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the grill sergeant himself, Mr. Andrew Rog. What's up, brother Andrew?
What's up, Johnny Mags? How are you?
Oh, dude, I'm good. The snow's melting. The temperature is climbing finally. Let's see. What are we? March? St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow.
Yep.
April. Just about 2.5 months before the first comp of the year of the Triple Crown, brought to you by Uncle Steve Shake also. But that'll kick off in Hancock, New Hampshire, and we'll have a good old time. Pat Cullen, what's up? Jeff Costa, Waypoint Barbecue. I was just bad-mouthing you, sir. No, I wasn't. I was thanking everybody and thanking you for the invite this weekend. Had a tremendous time cooking with you guys, and helping out and serving the patrons of Pragma Ale Works down there in Bristol. Great time, brother. Thank you. You even might have had a jelly donut or two. That's a story for another time. But Andrew, how have you been, brother?
Been good. Really, really busy, but just, keeping my head down and just tons and tons of barbecue content and just having fun with it all and trying to keep my head above water. And it's a fun, wild ride, for sure.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You're joining us tonight because you had started working with ChefsTemp, and we're going to get into those products in just a little bit. But let's catch up with you, brother. The videos are still going strong. You had a lot going on since the last time. You have your own seasoning line out there. So let's do some catch up here, brother. What have you been getting your hands into?
Too much. That's the main thing. If what's funny is starting a kind of your own rub line was definitely fun. I would love to say, hey, here's what it looks like. It's hard to actually keep it in stock. So I am so bad at like timing it, like, oh, hey, your orders are running out, place the next order. And that takes, a few weeks to get through. And so that's been a learning curve, but definitely fun. But I think last year was probably, looking back of 6 years of doing this whole YouTube thing, I think 2025 was a pivotal moment where it was just, you now actually going to the barbecue trade shows, checking out, Ace events and Lowe's events, and traveling not only state to state, but even going international as well, and just seeing barbecue on a global scale. It was probably the highlight of this whole, kind of journey, and really, I guess it would kind of light a fire under to where it's just like, what, this is super, super fun. And, it feels like, yes, we've been in it for 6 years, but it also feels like we're just getting started and having fun with it. So I'm seeing the calendar book up for 2026, and all I know is just take it 1 month at a time and just get the work done and have fun with it. But so far, 2026 is looking even crazier, and I love it. So.
Nice, man. Yeah. Nice. But no, you get the you'll get there. You always pay attention to everything in hardcore details. But no, like you were saying, with the rubs, you have them in certain places, and the order's going, and because you're getting into it too. So you got to try to organize your schedule in order to get with your co-packer that, hey, I need another X amount of case orders or poundage, however that all goes. And the lead time to get it done, to the shipment arrival, and then for you to distribute from there. It can get hectic, man.
Yeah.
But no, it's like I said, man, it's great to hear, like you said, the videos keep coming in, always top quality, and, just you always, both feet head first all the time, perfection, striving for perfection, audio quality, video quality, all that good stuff, and it shows in all your work. And, everybody that you've been teaming up with, a la ChefsTemp, and, doing some great things in with that. Big Rome, what's happening? Bobby Stewart, sup, folks, east of Dallas here, kind of chilly. Hey, it is March, so... Yeah, March. Okay. I don't even know what month it is. Never mind what day. I just knew it's Monday because I got to do my show. My happy time of the day. Then Tom's like, Ace Hardware is my go-to store for barbecue sauce and rubs. There's one down the road from it, and they have things in stock all year. No, absolutely. That's the other thing. When you get into the hardware stores and things like that, barbecue is no longer seasonal.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
From a retailer perspective, it's always in the sections are great because it keeps they keep growing. My local one I pass every morning, they actually moved across the street. They had their original store. Then across the street was a Rite Aid pharmacy. The Rite Aid went out. They bought the building. So you figure a regular hardware, local town hardware store moving into a Rite Aid. That's a lot of square footage. And their barbecue section right when you walk in the door. And it is huge.
Wow.
It's like, oh my God, finally. Hey, Chef Johnny, what's happening? Thank you for tuning in, brother. So that's good to hear that everything's good with you, and you're still pumping out the content, and pushing your seasonings, and the ups and downs, and you're just taking it in stride, man. That's great.
I mean, I'm not at 400 podcasts, not at that level yet, but It's just having fun,
No, absolutely, absolutely. Hang on a second. I got the phone is blowing up with people right now. How's that start? Okay. Attaboy, Jeff. Attaboy. But no, that's good. All right. So let's talk some Chef's Temp.
let's do it.
Okay. Now they reached out to me a month ago, maybe a little bit more. I lose track of time. But I had worked with that company, the umbrella company.
Yes.
Before with my Kamado Joe. And so they reached out and like, hey, we're working with Chef's Temp now. Would you be interested in a couple products, running it through the gauntlet, then speaking with one of our barbecue ambassadors? I go, oh, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. I go, what are you talking? He goes, oh, it's Chef's Temp. A lot of gauges, thermometers, wireless thermometers, wired probes, the whole gauntlet, blowers, everything. I'm like, yeah, let's go. They're like, okay. He goes, we'll send you these things, and then we'll get you in touch with one of our barbecue ambassadors, and we'll set something up to book a date for an interview. I'm like, perfect, absolutely. So then I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, Chef's Temp. Chef's Temp. I go, I know I heard it before. Where the hell did I hear it from? So I go to my favorite one other than Google, YouTube, and I put Chef's Temp thermometers, and I hit enter. And the first video that comes up is you. I'm like, that's where it was. That's how I know it.
Was
I'm
that
like,
guy?
okay. I go, oh, this could work out great. So then I called you. I'm like, hey, tell me about Chef's Temp. And you went through the whole shebang. And I'm like, are you one of their barbecue ambassadors? Well, yes, I am. I go, perfect. Right then and there, I emailed the guy back, and I'm like, yo, I go, I can tell if you don't mind, let's set me up with Andrew. Simply because Andrew and I have a relationship. And we've known each other for many years now. He's been on the show before. So it won't be one of these sometimes it can be awkward because me and the guest, kind of feeling each other out, things of that nature. I go, we can just roll straight in. And he's like, oh my God, that's perfect. And, so in a way we go, man. So how did you get to start working with Chef's Temp? And now for how long also?
So that is going to be probably about 2.5 years ago. Chef's Temp, they came recommended by Tommy from Gallery Backyard Barbecue.
Yep.
Me and Tommy will correspond maybe once a week and just kind of shoot the breeze and kind of see where each other's where we're at and whatnot. And hold on 1 second.
Take a minute, brother. Take a minute. We got it.
I'm gonna text my wife. I need a cough drop or something. I am dying here. And it's just water in here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm literally what the heck. But anyway, so I met with Tommy, and he had recommended Chef's Temp. And I remember when I first started working with them, I think at that time they had their wired wired probe setups and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then they had their first generation of their wireless probes. And so realistically, when you're, working with different companies and stuff like that, I've got to play with every wireless and wired device under the sun. So it's kind of like, all right, it's just one of those things. I'll use these products, and it's kind of like the Dave Chappelle thing at first. You're like, some people ask me, do I like Coke or do I like Pepsi? And Dave Chappelle would say, well, they taste about the same, but I like Pepsi because, they paid me last. So it's one of those things where, when a company wants to work with you, it's like, okay, there's, if the functions are the same, it's just one of those things where, okay, if there's a company that wants to sponsor some videos and stuff like that, that's fun to work with.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until probably maybe about a year and a half into working with them that it was like a snowball. They came out with these product designs that wasn't just like, oh, hey, we're putting something else out that everyone else does. They started coming up with products and stuff that were like mind blowing. And so I remember when we did the last time I was on your podcast, I had just got off from doing that. Was it that steak competition and whatnot?
Yes.
Which,
yes.
So that steak comp, I used the ChefsTemp wired probes, and this is kind of even before their technology and whatnot. So their stuff, if in a sense, you want to do comps with it, it's accurate enough to get exactly what you want to get done with that. But I remember the one guy that I did the comp with, I was picking his brain. I remember just getting an offset smoker, and I fell in love with offset smoking. The smell in the air, the backyard, it was like offset smokers are a vibe in themselves. And I was like, man, I want to do a thing where you just hang out with a bunch of guys and just smell the air around an offset smoker. And it is the most relaxing thing, except for one thing, when you literally have to go up and you're like, what's the gauge? What is the gauge reading? And I just remember be like, man, a lot of time with the offset, if your offset smoker is really good, it's a smooth ride, and you're sitting in your lawn chair, drinking a cold one, and you're just waiting for, when do I need to put in the next log? But I remember getting up and checking it. You're like, okay, about 15 more minutes, sit back down, check it. Maybe about 5 more minutes. And I was like, you know what? The only thing that would be even more relaxing is if I could just look at my smartwatch or my phone and just be like, your smoker temperature is at this. So I remember hitting up a buddy, like, how do we invent something like this? I just want to make a digital gauge that I could put on my offset smoker. And right when I was kind of just, kicking around some ideas, I get an NDA from ChefsTemp saying, hey, here's this product that we're coming out with. And I was like, not only was it like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted, it was like, oh, it can also link up to barbecue probes. And so I'm like, one, I'm glad I didn't pursue this rabbit hole, but two, they took it and then ran with it so much further. So that was basically, they came out with that. And then it was almost like, hey, this S1 is groundbreaking. And then they released the Pro Temp 2, which is like, oh my gosh, they just kept on one after the other. So I guess to bring up to speed, I have a analog. This basically comes with pretty much every grill that, no matter what it is, charcoal, gas grill, drum, you're going to get an analog gauge with it. And there is nothing wrong with these. If you want an accurate temp reading, you're going to get it in an analog. The only caveat with this is you have to physically be 2 feet away from it because the numbers are small to actually see what temperature your smoker is running at. And so then when the S1 came out, same exact thing. Just you take out the analog, you put in the S1, and then now you have, it works the exact same way, but now you have a digital signal coming off of your S1 device, and now you can look at it just like you would your analog gauge. But there'd be times where I'd have something on the smoker. I would go for a mountain bike ride because I live close to some trails, and I could literally glance at my smartwatch and know what my smoker temp's at, what my meat temperature's at, just glancing at my phone. I don't have to just glancing at my watch. I don't have to like stop and, make sure that the signal's right. One of the, I guess, true tests was when I got to go.
Okay. Let's let's roll this one in, because this is the major selling point out of all these wireless things. What you're about, the words that are about to come out of your mouth, if I know the story you're about to say, is mind blowing. But Kevin Hernandez, my pizza burning. What's up, homies? What's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Ken Smith, what's happening, brother? Great episode this month. I listened to it on the ride home today. Absolutely outstanding. You outdo yourself every month. Guys, if you're a Christmas fanatic like I am, my friend Ken Smith does an incredible podcast, the North Pole News Dispatch. Comes out, does an episode about once a month, and all the latest Christmas news and a lot of very creative storytelling. Absolutely incredible. Check that out. Chris Eastwind Farms, what's up? Rick, hello, 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 hello. My barbecue brothers and sisters, what's up, brother? And here's here's a little bit of a vouch for the product. We want one now that worked incredible. Thank you for showing us, dude, and spot on with our temps, because I brought these down to the event cooking with them this weekend, and it worked out amazing. But guys, with a lot of the wireless stuff, there's always that question on connectivity and range. I don't know what is in here, but there's something. Now, Andrew, continue.
All right. So to answer your question, what's in there? You have a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection, which means if you're near the device, your phone connects to it via Bluetooth. When you're away outside of that Bluetooth range, it will then relay your signal over Wi-Fi. So in theory, you can get that signal from a very, very far distance. And so I think the thing that kind of really, really sold me is when I got to go to Germany with ChefsTemp. We were at a barbecue show called Spogegaffe in Cologne, Germany. And there on the Europe side, that's basically the biggest barbecue trade show in the world. We're talking, like, I've been to a lot of barbecue, trade shows, and you might see a few hundred vendors. This is a few thousand vendors. So you're seeing barbecue on a scale that would blow your mind. So I'm talking with the owner of ChefsTemp there, and I was like, hey, we're in Germany right now. In theory, if your product worked because it's a Wi-Fi signal, I could get my S1 temperature reading from another country. And he's like, well, we've never tested that, but in theory it would work. So, it's maybe 2 p.m. in Germany. I call my wife at 7 a.m. here in Texas, and I say, honey, go outside and just turn the S1 on my offset smoker. Just turn it on. Okay. She goes outside, she turns it on, and immediately I get a signal from Germany. Your offset smoker is at 72 degrees. Basically, it's reading the ambient temperature.
Yeah.
And me and the owner just like jumped. We were like schoolgirls. We're like, this is awesome. Okay, so as far as range goes, most likely you don't need to check your offset smoker from another country. But if you needed to.
But you could if you wanted to.
You could if you wanted to. But what is that? The practical in that is, if you wanted to run down to the grocery store, get some more supplies, you already have that information, what's going on with the S1 with you always. So that's going to be the practical. You're usually not going to start some barbecue and get on a plane and go to another country. But realistically, you're like, oh, I'm running low on foil and I need to wrap some, brisket in, a few hours, and you just want to make sure, your temperatures are good and whatnot. That's where it comes into play, where just at, again, a glance of your phone, a glance of your smartwatch, and then you can kind of see that data. So they came out with the S1 at the beginning. They really pushed it. I think it was January of 2025. And I believe Chicago was the first trade show. It won product of the year. So it's like already, and I remember Tommy was there, and then he and the owner texted me. They're like, "We won product of the year." And I'm like, that doesn't surprise me. Like, that is, again, I am such an S1 fan. It lets you do barbecue authentically, but then you have just the technology behind it that just makes your life so much easier. So that was pretty much, the S1 in my mind, just such an awesome product. And then the other thing that very surprised me is when we were in Europe, it did so well in Europe just because Europe side, they're about 2 years behind the barbecue products we have here. So imagine bringing this technology to the Europe side, which usually it's like, oh, it will trickle over there. And then ChefsTemp was like, no,
Eventually.
we'll just bring it right here now. It was blowing people's minds. So like, what? This can do what? And then, so yeah, the S1 is just, I think what you said when we were talking a little bit earlier, you just use it, and then people are just drawn to it. Like, hey, what's that? And then they actually see how it works. And the products really do. They sell themselves. I don't have to stand up here and try to shill like, order now. This is the best. I'm saying, like, I use this thing if I'm not recording. This thing is just, it's awesome. And I think what people like about it most is the price point. I remember when I would tell people in Europe, try to guess how much this is. And they would guess 150 euros, 250 euros. And it's just like, oh no, and I would say the price, and it was something, like, I think it was $100 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, euros? It's like, no, US dollars. So that means it's even cheaper for, like, even lower in euros. And they're like, this, it blew their mind. They're like, normally when you have a really cool, fancy gadget like that, a high price tag is attached to it. And, they just have an awesome product, an awesome price. Their stuff is very, very affordable. And so the S1, I'm assuming it just like they don't have to do much to try to pitch this. It sells itself if that's something you're looking for, just for the advantage of, hey, I want to take that digital signal and I want to get it again to my, iPhone smartwatch. If you wanted to, you can go in and customize it. So say, the S1 sits 6 inches above my grate level. So in theory, the grate level could be a little bit hotter, or it could be a little bit cooler depending on, how your smoker is running. Well, you can actually customize in the app to say, hey, I'm using a wired probe at grate level, and this is measuring at this. You can then match it up. So you can like custom dial this in. So it's a very, very well thought out product. And so if that was the only thing ChefsTemp had to their name, I would still be happy repping them and going on these barbecue tours. But then they came out with the world's lightest, thinnest wireless barbecue probe.
That's it right there.
That is the ChefsTemp ProTemp 2. And this thing is this is as thin as it gets. Because I don't know if you've got to play around with, like say the original meters or the original ChefsTemp probes. I personally didn't like them because I'm like, the probes are so thick. You put it in a steak, you cook your steak, sear it. And then by the time you pull it out, you're like, oh my gosh, like this has a big old hole in it. All the juices are coming out from that hole. And you're like, well, that's, And so this is now, it's not as thin as the wired probes, but it's thin enough to where I started doing comps for steak comps and then using the wireless probe, because now when you're trying to do a marinade and have the thermometer and have this cable come out, I'm like, that's a pain in the butt. If you can just have it wireless, and then you can just take your steak from the marinade, from the grill, to the resting tent, and you don't have to worry about cables, getting crossed and whatnot. Yeah, definitely a game changer in that.
Yep.
And how they fit
Yeah.
how they fit a 50-hour battery in there, that's anyone's guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the other thing, and it's probably going to be so hard to trying to block the light a little bit here. Can you all see the lines there? There we go. A little bit better. Yeah. There's two lines, one here, that gives you the depth of penetration. So it's going to work at the peak performance. You're going to get the most accurate out of it. So they almost dummy proof it or mags proof it before any of y'all put it in the damn chat. So I'll just go there and shit on myself right off the bat. Dave, what's up, brother? Hood Drip Sauce. Great, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Guys, if you haven't tried the Hood Drip sauces and seasonings, man, Dave, Dave, I'm gonna shoot you a message tomorrow. It's been too long. We got to catching up. I know you have a couple new things out there, brother. But no, and it's great because with where the hell's the goddamn camera on this stupid computer? There we go. It'll pair up with this.
Yeah.
So you can be having this, and then down here, it shows the internal of whatever meat you're doing. Yes, you can have it on the phone, on the app and everything, run everything on your phone. The other thing, it comes off. So you can leave this in your offset, in your Kamado. And that's the other beautiful thing. It's interchangeable. So if you're running the Kamado that day, you can run it. If you're running your offset, you can run it. You're running a drum, you can run it. And still have everything, obviously, not there. But for protection purposes, you don't have to leave this outside on the unit. If it rains, snows, whatever, you can take it in, charge it, and literally there's the prongs on the bottom for the. There you go, from right there on top, and it just it'll give me grief. To get it in, just right back, and boom, we're back in business. 518. I'm like, ooh, 64. There we go.
Yeah, you're running your room.
It is. Yeah. 518 in here. Yeah. But no, like I said, and I was telling the guys from Waypoint about it, and they're like, yo, can you bring them down? I go, yeah. So we just literally unscrewed the analog on their offset, their smoker, screwed this one in, and had this in, because we did about 150 pounds of corned beef, plus about 4 pork butts and some chicken. So we kind of put this in the, like the center brisket, figuring, okay, that's kind of the median. Everything around might be a little bit higher, just a hair lower. But we had that in. Then, like I said, on the phone, we're in the tent, peeling and slicing carrots, potatoes, cabbage, all the stuff for our sides. And we're just looking down at the phone and, okay, this is the temperature of the pit. Okay, it's dropping a little bit. Let me run out back, throw a couple splits, and you keep an eye on the internals. Oh, we're getting close to wrapping time, but it was so, I don't want to say easy. I wanted to be a little bit more fancy, but it made for much more relaxing, and we were able to get more productivity out of getting the work done because, like you said, right there on the phone, that's what we're looking at. We're doing, like I said, I'm doing carrots, Jeff's doing potatoes, Jared's doing cabbage, preparing all this stuff. And okay, this is it. Okay, now take these out, and while you're there, throw a split. Or, but they were so impressed with it. And like you said, they're sturdy.
Yeah.
For a wireless probe, this is very sturdy. Believe me, because I've already dropped it a number of times, with my sausage fingers. But
have you tried throwing darts with it yet?
I didn't. That's the first thing I go, dude. This looks like a dot. It is. But it works. Stick it on your neck. Let's see the difference. All right, smart ass. Yeah, I'll just cup the back of this thing, and you'll literally watch it go up. It'll get there. It'll take a second, maybe.
So if you walk in I think you brought up a really good point. If you walk in my backyard, you basically just see a bunch of these all around, and all I have to do is when I'm done with the cook, I bring this inside. There's a USB-C charging port in here. And then I just like, what am I going to cook on today? And it's like, okay, I'm going to cook on, my offset, put that on the offset. Oh, you know what? I feel like cooking on the big green egg today. Put it on the big green egg. And then they have different, so in theory, what you said is true. Like, if you have a big green egg, you can get one specific for that. If you have, offset smoker, you can get one for that. It has a washer and wing nut on here. So they're pretty much, I don't think they found something that, oh, hey, this grill wouldn't work with it. It's pretty much meant to set up to where, if you go on their website, they even have like, hey, what smoker do you have? Hey, it's going to be this, this probe length, or this, some need to be thinner, some need to be, fatter. But for the most part, if your grill has a analog on it, it's going to be kind of set up the same way. You're going to have a little wing nut on here. You take that off, you slap that on, and this will basically live on your grill. And so, yeah, when you come out and you're like, all right, today I'm cooking on this, you just do it. And these things, the funny thing is in theory, you should recharge it after every cook, but I don't. Like these things again, have like a 50-hour battery. So when I'm done, I'll turn it off. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to charge it. Turn it off. All right. I'll get you through another, all right, I'll still be good. And the irony is, if it did die, I think the rapid charging on this is like 10 minutes. Like it's so fast to where you can then the probes as well. There's so many times where I'm like, well, shoot, nothing's more frustrating than taking out a probe, getting everything set up and be like, oh, the probe, I forgot to charge it. And so then when I was talking with Jason, I was like, well, what's your workflow? How do you do it? And he was basically saying like, when you're going to kind of start prepping and seasoning stuff, throw this on the charger. By the time 5 to 15 minutes are up, you're pretty much ready and charged up for the cook. So it's not like, oh, wait, I have to remember to charge these the day before. You really don't need to. They have a rapid charger on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, Jeff was absolutely loving these. So he's got a couple questions here. Now, how many probes does it support, seeing we only used one? So obviously it's on the app, but meaning like when we were sitting out there, you had the one probe and you had the temperature on the bottom. Now with this, then obviously I had the charging station with it, which holds 4 probes.
Yes.
So can you monitor 4 different? Will it show on there, or do you have to toggle through the channels on the display itself?
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, through the app, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it can do up to 9 probes, depending on what you're using as relays and stuff like that. I know for the dock itself, I believe you have 1 probe port here. And then you have, if you take off the back, you have your other, you can basically charge 3 at a time. And I believe that with one of these, you can then run 3 probes, and then you can run 3 of these, or or one of these and 2 of these, and so each one will kind of read, in a sense, 3 of the probes. I have talked with one of the friends of the owner, and we're like, if it's just software, why not be able to link up 64? Not that you would want to run 64 probes, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I've never found myself in a situation needing more than 2 or 3 of these. But, in theory, if someone wanted to run a bunch, it would be interesting if all it is just, change some software and you can link up 20 to an app, cool. But realistically, for the backyard barbecue that, I'm doing a brisket and 2 pork butts, put 3 in, and then you're pretty much, kind of off to the races.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to understand his question on this one.
Okay.
Can the wireless temps be used in the front and rear chambers, seeing the front chamber is separate from the rear? So if I'm understanding what he's saying, can you, and I'm assuming the answer is going to be yes, but on his pit, he has a 250-gallon reverse flow.
Yes.
So you have the main chamber.
Yes.
And then off above the firebox, he has another like hot box, if you will.
Yeah.
Where you can finish stuff at a higher temp or keep things, warm. It would run for both ends. You're just going to have to remember which probe is in which side.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much the S1 can read ambient temperatures up to about 1,000 degrees. So the running joke we have is like, if your grill doesn't melt down, if you don't basically, usually you're not going to run your offset smoker at 1,000 degrees. But yeah, pretty much if you have a port there already, and, it's like, I already have a temperature gauge there. If there is an analog gauge there, you can then swap it out with the S1 and then you could, because actually on my offset, I have 3, probe ports and for 3 temperature gauges. So I told ChefsTemp, I'm like, send me 3 of them. I just want to run 3. And it was very cool. One, seeing 3, kind of sensors pop up on my app so then I can monitor but it actually really helps paint a picture as far as like how your offset smoker works. Is your offset smoker hottest, on, the firebox side, and then it kind of rolls around and whatnot. So yeah, what I found is just, anywhere you want to put it, you can put it. But to me, if you're say running an offset, usually I find just the center, kind of the center one is good enough to get the job done. I mean, if you want to be really crazy, you could put, a bunch of these if you want, but realistically, on one grill, I have that. Now on the Kamado Joe and then the Big Green Egg, the only other thing that's different with that is below that, I have the ChefsTemp Brizo, which is basically their fan system. And so, hey, you got one too.
That's right.
I thought you're going to style your hair with that, like blow it out.
Hey, you never know. I'm thinking about growing it back, but I'm thinking is the key word to there, because I can think all I want, and the actual reality of it happening ain't working. They sent me the Brizo too, and comes with all the hardware that you need to assemble it, whether you're using it on an egg or Kamado Joe, the Weber kettle. Stu, you had said something about an offset. I don't think I'd be able to use this on mine just because of how the air vent is.
Yeah, so I actually did, as just for giggles, I was like, well, let's try to run an offset with it. And so inside this box, they actually give you smoker tape, which is basically high heat tape. And so in theory, yeah, you basically, you take that, and if you wanted to, you could then, kind of tape up your, basically any of the vents that are basically exposed. And then you have the springs that will actually clamp on. And so I was able to run an offset smoker on the Brizo system. But I think offset, and especially with our offsets and stuff like that, that's probably the one smoker where you're like, well, it's kind of, an offset smoker works just by like kind of like breathing naturally. On Amados, the Brizo system is an absolute game changer. Not that it's hard to even dial in, say on the Big Green Egg or the Kamado, but it's just one of those things where you're getting your charcoal started. You just on the app say 275, and then just that fan system kicks on, and then it starts getting lighter and lighter until it's like, hey, you're up to temp, and then it will keep it there. When it starts dipping, it just gives a little bit more air, and it just keeps it that perfect, whatever temperature you want. And so I feel that if you have definitely a Big Green Egg, Kamado, if you're running a drum smoker, that's where, because it's almost like in an offset, you're kind of like consuming all that's in the firebox. Whereas a drum, you have unlit charcoal in there, and you kind of want that to slowly 15, 20 hours, you just want that charcoal to be slowly consumed. That's where the Brizo is your best friend. Whereas an offset, hey, all I need to do is just set a timer when my temps drop below 230. I get a notification. All right, time for another log. And so now I'm able to do offset barbecue, and yet I can go back inside, be at my desk, get work done, and I don't need to babysit a fire. But then at the end of the day, I'm eating amazing offset barbecue without it feels like cheating a little bit, because traditionally you're getting up early and you're sitting by the fire the whole day, and you're going through a pack of beer, and it's unproductive. And but now it's like, hey, I got videos to edit, I got things to film, I still want the barbecue, but just in my season of life where I got 2 young kids and I need to play dad and all that stuff, these ChefsTemp tools definitely help bring that awesome barbecue experience. And I feel like these tools are just very, very, they're game changers in my book. And anyone that has been around since I'm doing it, they're like, man, that is the coolest thing. Or just like, to us, we're like, oh, that's cool, this is awesome technology. But to some, this is like mind blowing. Like, what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Tom is asking, will the Brizo easily fit on my Oklahoma Joe Bronco, or will I have to engineer a solution?
It will easily fit on that. I have a video on my channel where I take my drum smoker. All it is basically on the Bronco, you're going to have your, I guess, the inlets for the oxygen. You're going to close one of the top stacks, and then the second one, you're going to basically put that Brizo fan on. And so then that Brizo fan talks to the S1 that's mounted where the gauge sits, and those two talk to each other for the whole cook. And so, yeah, it will work on the drum fine. I remember, at least in my experience of using a drum smoker versus a Big Green Egg, like the drum smokers were a little bit more finicky. And so having that Brizo just helped just get that precise temperature. On the Big Green Egg, for the most part, if you just get that dialed in, it's just going to hum and whatnot. So I look at the Brizo. I still use the Brizo fan just because it helps get that charcoal up to temp faster than if I were just to naturally let it do its thing. So I'm going to use it anyway. But on the drum smoker, there's been times where you look away and you're like, oh, we're at 300 plus, and okay, let's try to choke it down. And you're just like, I'm spending more time trying to chase these temps. Whereas once you put a Brizo on it, you're like, all right, sit back. And I think what you said, yeah, you're more productive. You're like, oh, that's cool. I don't have to worry about chasing temps. Now I can enjoy time with friends, family, or you're doing other stuff, you're meal prepping and whatnot. So definitely you got some good products for sure.
Yeah. And Viola, thank you so much. Supports up to 3 probes per device and allows you to connect to 3 devices to a single app, enabling you to monitor up to 9 probes simultaneously. So yeah, that's crazy right there. But then we're gonna go back to Jeff, and he specified his question. The question is, my front and rear chambers are separated by 5/8 steel between the chambers. So will it? Oh, that's right. Yeah. So will it be able to pick up from that back chamber to the front one if, say, this is on the front chamber?
So what kind of grill is it, or smoker? I'm trying to understand the.
I'm just gonna text them.
Yeah, that's fine. And
Actually,
then I see Tom's question right here about the Brizo and if it complains about blowing ash on his food. I think the way, at least when I'm using it, it's a variable speed fan, and so you're not getting an all or nothing. And so the whole trick is when it drops below a certain temperature, it does these almost like if you were to replicate your own breath. Like when you see Aaron Franklin kind of trying to get that next log up, you're breathing onto it. You're not taking a blower to it, which is going to put, ash everywhere and stuff like that. It mimics these gentle breaths just to kind of get it up and going again, and it keeps it in that sweet spot. So as far as there being, excess ash floating around and whatnot, as long as, I would say it doesn't run out of charcoal, it pretty much just is able to deliver these gentle. It's not like there's a 1-speed fan in it. It's variable speed, so there's no issue with ash blowing around.
I'll wait for him to text me back with the name. Because I can't remember who made it.
It's one of those things. Yeah, if we find out the grill or smoker, I can Google it really quick. But for the most part, if he already has a temperature gauge there, it will be able to replace that. If it's, because if you look at it, the hole itself, isn't that.
All right. He said it's called a Bubba Grill 250. So it's a 250-gallon reverse flow with a rear box, and it's in a rib box. So it's the main chamber, then the rib box is there above the firebox. He's saying it. Sorry, Andrew. He's sending it to me on my phone.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You're good. I'm just trying to see if I can see a picture of it right now.
Well, Jeff, I guess I'm going to say this. I'm going to have to get another probe, and we're going to have to get together again. Damn it. What a terrible time that's going to be. Tell you what, to make up for your inconvenience, I'll bring the jelly donuts.
There you go.
I can't believe he ate 27 and a half jelly donuts this weekend. Unbelievable, that man. No, just kidding. But
okay,
he loved the donuts.
So I'm looking at a picture of it, and if it's the same grill that I have, it basically, it has this kind of there's basically a lower firebox, I'm assuming, and then it has this kind of like upper rack with the grill thing on it. Yes, that S1 would work with that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and then it has this fat top stack above that, at least from the photos that I see. Yeah, now he's talking about if the S1 will work on that, correct? The thermometer, or is he talking about the blower?
Oh no, not the blower. The S1.
Yeah, yeah. Where I'm looking at where it actually has the analog temperature gauge in through the front door, then yeah, you take that out, and then you just replace that gauge there. So again, 99.9% of the times, if there is a analog gauge there, that's going to just, you just basically take off your analog and then you just swap it out, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah. Now, here's the other question. Obviously, like I said, I was just looking at it, trying to see everything that they have. Now, the unit itself, is detachable.
Yes.
But the mounting bracket itself, are these sold separately?
Yes.
So, okay, so I could literally buy two for Miss Mary for the upper and lower, one for the Kamado Joe, one for the Weber, and literally only have one, forgive me for calling it a puck. But, and I can just pop. But of course, we know me, so I'd have to have, if I have 8 of these, I need 8 of these too.
Yes, of course.
I need the matching.
Yes. And so again, it's one of those things where just go to their website, and they have some that are grill specific. So like the Big Green Egg, your standard probe won't work in it. It needs a very, very thin probe. So they have some that are specific for the Big Green Egg. I know Chef Johnny, he has one for his Primo. And so they, it's kind of, if you just look in their drop down, like, hey, if you have this drum smoker or this ceramic grill, use this size, and then you can pretty much order accordingly. So you can basically, if you go out, I have these in all shapes and sizes outside, but then I can just bring one S1 and it will fit on any of those grills.
Yeah. And obviously you brought it up on your computer, but this is
yeah, that's what I saw. So basically, if that's the temperature gauge thing right there, yeah, you would take that off. And I believe if you go onto the ChefsTemp website, I believe they sell one model that is the probe length is about 5.5 inches, and you can basically take the one off the bubble or whatever that smoker is called, and then just measure it, and then you can kind of just order accordingly.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna look into, because that's the one thing I found with hooking this up to Miss Mary is the actually it really wasn't too bad. The one that's the standard one's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
So I'd have to watch how I place stuff.
Yeah.
Because at one point I had it was reading, 62 degrees. I'm like, how the hell is it 62 degrees? It was in the end of a book.
Yeah.
It was in a book, but
nice.
I'm like, damn it.
Yep.
But no, Rick's brother Rick is asking, is the ChefsTemp waterproof?
So it is water resistant, and then they do sell it's kind of like rain guards that I think go over these things. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, actually, while we're chatting right now, I think I can check on their website. I think they just came out with that, because I've used these S1s in the rain before, and there's a lot of difference between using this in the rain and then going swimming with it. So will it work in the rain? Yes, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on their website I saw it looked like they had an S1. It was, I don't want to misspeak, but it's this like orange. It's this orange thing that goes over it. Let me see if there's a name for it. But yeah, it looks like that is looks like it's a rain cover or a weather cover or whatnot. In fact, I think I have one downstairs, but to be honest, since I haven't run into any issues with it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, if it's in Texas and it starts really, really pouring down, I'm not going to be outside barbecuing. You know what I'm saying? You can know what the weather is and be like, all right, I'm not going to grill in torrential rain. But for the most part, when it has come down really, really heavy, I've had no issues with the S1s.
I'm trying to do something here that I'm going to be very dangerous with. I just opened another screen to get the ChefsTemp website here.
Oh yeah, so it says waterproof cover. Yeah, so on their website, when you're ordering the S1, you can then. Oh, this is actually fascinating. I haven't been on their website in a hot minute, but you can basically, it will show you the different stem lengths, and then under there they have the waterproof cover option that you can add as well. So it basically, right when you attach this to the S1 or to the actual stand or the mount, then you can put the waterproof thing over it. And I believe all that it's doing is you have, pretty much that seam right in there that's covering that. So once that's covered, it's pretty much then, let the rain come.
Yeah.
I still know what my smoker's doing. So
yeah, no, absolutely. But no, like I said, I from the first time I plugged them in, it was fantastic. Obviously, you're sitting there trying to the analog. It's like, what the hell is it? I mean, there's no mistaking what the hell that says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it lights, it illuminates too, so you can see it from there and all that.
Yep.
Everything on them, they were phenomenal. And like I said, we got to really play with the probes and everything this past weekend. That's funny. It jumped to 518 again.
So it basically when you turn it on and it actually gets, kind of plugged in, that's its cycle when it turns on. Yeah, you'll always see 512 and then it will kind of read the temperature on there. Something that if you're looking, because it has, all these buttons on the side and you're like, wait, why are, like there's a bunch of buttons on here. So there's 4 buttons. One is for pairing. So that's what you're originally going to press when you're actually setting it up to the app. You have the Wi-Fi on and off. So if you're like, hey, you know what? I don't care about sending a Wi-Fi signal. You can turn that off. And then that's going to extend the battery. But I'm like, well, if it's going to be last, more than 20 hours anyway, I don't, like it's whatever. But there was one button that kind of I discovered later that I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. So think about this. Say you have a Big Green Egg or Kamado Joe, or no?
Kamado Joe.
Okay, so Kamado Joe. So if say you have this on your Kamado Joe and you have your Brizo fan, well, what happens to the temperature if you open up to say sauce something up? The temperature, if you open up the lid, temperature drops. Well, I was like, oh crap. One thing I've experienced was you open the lid up and then the fan's like, oh, we have a 100-degree drop in temp. And you're like, well, you don't need to blow. No, you don't do that. So then I remember reaching out to ChefsTemp. I'm like, hey, what's the workworkaround? And he's like, dude, there's a button that literally says a pause fan. So if you're on the Big Green Egg or the Kamado, you basically press that. You can then open it up. The fan won't kick on because in theory, if you didn't press that, it would think, oh, the temperature's dropping. I need to do my job now. You can then sauce up what you need to do, add, remove, whatnot, close, and then the Big Green Egg or Kamado will then naturally come up to temperature, and then you can say resume, fan and whatnot. But that was pretty smart that they even thought about that, because I'm like, oh, they didn't put that on there. It's like, oh, you got a dilemma. You open that thing up and that if that Kamado is in that sweet spot and then you put a lot of charcoal, oh, it's hard.
Oh yeah, you can once it spikes, you can't. It's tough to bring that bad boy down. Yeah. And Ren is saying yes. We offer a silicone rain cover and a plastic protective cover for the S1.
That's
so
cool.
They are available. So you can for storing and all that. So that's beautiful. Scott Peterson's checking it out. ChefsTemp user since November 24. Beautiful, beautiful. And Brother Rick is, he's a loyalist, but he is willing to play. I'm a Tell True and ThermalWorks user. You've got me wanting to try this ChefsTemp unit. Rick, it is fantastic. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you've ever met Andrew, or Andrew, if you've ever met Brother Rick.
I
I
think I know
think
who.
you might have. You did. It was at my pit release party.
There
That's
we
right.
go.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the only time you've ever two have ever been in each other's presence. Um, um, but no, I'd like to say that Andrew will probably let you share some of his toys to play with, to check them out. Oh, which also, hold on, I do have another question from our boy Braden.
Well, I'll do Rick one even better. Since he works at Barbecue Outfitters, I'll get him to sell the ChefsTemp products, and then you could sell a ton of them, and then there you go, boom.
Absolutely, absolutely. On a back to a grill sergeant side of this, Braden's question for you is: do you have any interest in bringing back the barbecue 2 late night live stream?
Ooh. The answer to that is yes.
Obviously, time permitting.
Yes, it's well. The funny thing is, it's been a hot minute. 2025 was insane. 2026 is even crazier. But I did kind of get some gear as far as like, how you have like whatever stand you're holding the mic with and stuff like that. My mic's like right off to here. New cameras, things, and I'm trying to get some, like extra lights in here where you can be like, all right, here you got some lights. So it's slowly working there. I do know the barbecue late night lives were so fun, and then and it's kind of like what we're doing right now. Hey, let's just talk the latest and greatest of kind of all things barbecue. And then I just remember life got busy, but I do see that coming back soon. That is for sure.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, folks, like I said, I dropped the link in earlier. But yeah, check them out. Like I said, the face itself, you can't miss it. It's digital, so you see it from a distance. You're off doing something, or even a little off weather thing. You got the offset or whatever it's on. You peek your head out the door and kind of guess, looking for the needle. We've all done it. Don't tell me I'm the only one who's ever tried to figure out where that needle was from 30 feet away. But you can just catch it right there. But also you can just have it on sitting there on your phone, and away you go. Like I said, they got the covers, everything, and like I said, where'd my dot go?
And
See,
then
you got me calling it a dot.
To answer Kent's question, yes, in 1/10 of a degree. And so in here, in the actual probe, there's basically the first line that you see there is where you're actually going to insert it, because inside here you actually have multiple sensors. So it's not just reading specifically at the tip. You have a sensor here, leading all the way up to where that last line is. So as long as you attach it past that line, then you're going to basically get better basically temperature predictions, seeing as it can kind of read all the sensors and stuff like that. And so how they're able to get 1,000-degree ambient temperatures, because one thing we didn't explain is, if say you're like, well, the S1 say is not for me, but this probe, the world's thinnest one, is cool. You can also get ambient temperature readings from the back of this probe. But seeing as this probe is pretty much bulletproof in that you can do up to 1,000 degrees ambient temperatures, if you wanted to deep fry with this thing, if you wanted to live fire cook over open coals and whatnot, there was one guy I met in Vegas, and he bought the thermometer probe right then and there, and he does sourdough bread making. And at a certain point when you're doing the dough, he'll take this in, put it in, and when that internal temperature of the dough reaches 208, he knows his sourdough is ready. He'll pull it, let it rest, and then his sourdough is the perfect temperature every single time. So I'm like, that's funny. I enjoy that. But pretty much
that's amazing.
Yeah. It is just wild. So there's so many uses even outside of just your typical barbecue and stuff like that. You have bread makers buying this, you have, and then so to me it's just like, all right, you can the issues with like the Gen 1s were like, okay, it's good for smoking, but don't get it near fire because you don't want to crack or break the ceramic coating on it. Well, now that ceramic ring is right here. And so since it's so small now, and the reason why you have to have that there is that's what is going to transmit the Wi-Fi signal. So if this was just solid steel, it would be, again, bulletproof, but then now you have no wireless connectivity and stuff like that. So you're going to have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi be able to kind of transmit out of there. And since they were able to make it so small in here, then it can pretty much withstand, the flames and deep frying and however you want to have fun with it.
No, absolutely. And Andrew, you know how our group works. Whatever we say, everybody can come up with an answer for everything, and Tom did not disappoint. Cell phone camera on Zoom, problem solved with the C in the needle. Of course it is, Tom. And I would never have thought of that. Damn it. He's one step ahead of me.
That's funny.
And we get whole number on the base, but you can check in the app and get the more detailed number in 1/10 of a degree. There we go.
They're
Perfect.
talking about on here where it will display a big temperature, or on the S1 it will display the big temperature. But if you opened up the app, then you can actually see the more detailed.
Now, what you just had is that a difference on that, or does that have like obviously it has the
so
screen on it, which will give you the digital.
So what you have is that is a charging dock, and so this is, it basically acts as, you can use this as a charging dock, but this is also a Wi-Fi relay. So a lot of times if you're having issue saying, oh man, my the probe is losing connection, I walk inside and then I'm having issues and whatnot. If you actually have this next to your grill, that then acts as a Wi-Fi relay. And then the back of it is magnetic in itself. So sometimes I'll just put this to the legs of my smoker. That area obviously doesn't get hot and whatnot. And it's just, it kind of just, you can put it to there. So a lot of times, as long as you have your Wi-Fi signal and stuff like that, it works great. But even if, say, you're like, well, I live in an area where like the Wi-Fi is not that good, well, you still have Bluetooth, and then this acts as the Bluetooth extender.
Okay, perfect. Oh man, well, brother, thank you for taking the time. Great, first off, great to catch up again and see where everything is going on, Grill Sergeant, and thank you for working with them, because like I said, once I go, I've heard this company, I've heard it, I go, I know someone who works for them. And then, boom! You were literally the first one. I'm like, oh, this is even better, because we can just, like I said, we can just roll right into it, and just because of the knowing each other for so long. But yeah, folks, incredible products. They've been, and we all know I'm an asshole when it comes to products, and what I mean by asshole, physicality. I'm a klutz. I'm a moron. Like I said, I dropped this numerous times this weekend. Didn't really drop this because it was kind of stuck to the pit.
Yeah.
But there's gonna come to a time that I'm gonna bring it in to charge it, and I'm gonna do something stupid with it. But they've held up. Like I said, I like the digital display. The temperatures are very accurate. The Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities are simple, which like I said, we used those, while we were in the tent prepping other things on sides, while the proteins were doing their thing out there. And we didn't have to miss a beat by running out to do this. And okay, now I'm behind. It was right there on the phone, all our temps. the ambient temp, the internal temp, the whole nine. So definitely a winning product for sure. Like I said, I was looking at a couple of the other ones. The traditional wired probe box, looked interesting because it had the four on there. But yeah, I'm gonna see what else is on there. I like my gadgets.
Did they send you their final touch?
No, I got the S1, the wireless, and then the Breezo.
Yeah, this is something to also consider looking at. I'll see if I can get Viola to send you one. But this thing is pretty much when I'm out by my offset smoker, it has the world's fastest instant read time. So you have half a second and instant reading.
Holy Jesus.
The cool thing is, and I'm left-handed, so that means if I flip that upside down, it auto rotates depending on which way I'm actually holding it.
Which way you're holding it.
And then you have one button right here, which is you're going to be your hold button. So a lot of times if you get into the pit, that's like 300 degrees inside your pit. Well, you can get inside your pit back, and you can then hit the hold button, and then it will basically lock on to whatever temperature that meat was. You can read it outside of the pit.
Side of it.
And then you don't have to go in there and look at it. So definitely something else to consider. The final touch is awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that really is great. Yeah, I'm checking that out. And there's ChefsTemp. Thank you for the support. No, absolutely. Thank you guys, for sending these products. I'm very impressed with them right now. And I don't see that changing, right now. I'm gonna enjoy these. And like I said, with all the hell I've already put it through, they're gonna last. Because, like I said, I'm a beast when it comes to taking care of stuff. I am the perfect person to try it because I am going to come pretty close to destroying everything. So, you want research and development? I am your man for durability. But, brother, like I said, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you guys at ChefsTemp for the wonderful products. Like I said, a couple people have shown this to are absolutely in love with it. So hopefully, we expand the brand a little bit more. And like I said, Andrew, thank you for your friendship. It was great catching up with everything. You and ChefsTemp, you and as Grill Sergeant. And I am definitely looking forward to those late night lives, baby. Because, God knows, there'll be days I sleep like a baby. The rest of the days of the year, not so much. I'm up late. Thank you, Grumpus. Have you checked out Grumpus's lives lately? Have you noticed when Grumpus goes live?
Is it like really?
He goes
really
live
late?
Every Saturday night. Sometimes it's Sunday morning when he goes live. He'll go live at like midnight Eastern.
Wow.
Sometimes 1:00 Eastern, so midnight Texas time, and he'll go for 3 or 4 hours. That's the other thing. Wow. It's like, dude, there was one time I had to be up early. He was still live. It was like 3:30 in the morning. I was firing up the pit for a long cook.
Oh my God.
But the YouTube family, the YouTube boys is still out and doing it. But nice. But like I said, brother, thank you for your time. Thank you for all your insight and expertise on these products. Thank you for trying the product out in Germany and with the receiver in Germany and the product in Texas, and it works. So it will work across the pond.
Literally.
Let me ask you this. This is one I didn't ask. From the app, right?
Uh-huh.
So say you have the Breezo working, okay? Yeah. You got everything jiving.
Yeah.
If you are on the road, okay, and you are at a conference, trade show, okay, and your wife is at home and wants to cook something, can she literally just do the seasoning and put it on, and you can literally take care of it for her almost
I mean, you could babysit it for sure.
from
Yeah.
your phone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you
Mhm.
can send her a text. Okay, hey, go out and spritz. You're literally running the temp
Yeah.
for the cook, and you're just all right. Go spritz. Okay, wrap it, put it in a half pan, cover it in foil, put it back on. I'll take care of the rest. Okay, go take it off. Let it sit on the counter for an hour and go. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing right there.
The big thing is you have to find a wife who's willing to do that. Oh, forget
True.
that kid dogs. Yeah, you could do that yourself. All
You
right.
can do that when you get home. I'm like, just trying
I'm
to.
just thankful that my wife was willing to get out of bed at 7 a.m. while I was in Germany to be like, fine, I'll go outside and turn
All
it
right,
on.
I'll go turn it
Yeah,
on.
thank you, honey. Thank you so much, baby. I love you.
Yeah. But no, that yes, okay. Set the standard. You
Yes,
know
it
what I
did.
mean? Right there with the owner, right there live.
Yep.
But yeah. Thank you, brother. Where can everybody find you social media wise?
Social media wise, you can pretty much, YouTube at Grill Sergeant is, pretty much where my big channel is. On Instagram, Grill Sergeant USA, if you wanted to shoot me a message. I like IG just for like, oh, it's easier just to, send a message back and forth quick there. But yeah, pretty much just Instagram and YouTube are, kind of where I have fun and whatnot. So, or if you're at any of the barbecue trade shows, I know that on Thursday I leave for the HPB Expo. That's going to be in New Orleans. Yep. That one's coming up. And so that one's a pretty fun show. I ate really, really good last year. That I remember that what stands out about me, the food there was absolutely amazing. But yeah, we'll just see where, kind of, if you just follow along on YouTube, you'll kind of see the all the adventure and whatnot, but looking forward to it.
Nice, brother. Nice. Well, like I said, thank you for your time. Let me close this out and I'll jump right back in with you.
You got it,
Well,
buddy.
that was it, guys. Andrew had so much knowledge on the different products, and there is more that ChefsTemp offer. So hop on their site and explore for your own and what might fit in your wheelhouse or you'd like to try. But thanks to them also. But catch the audio as always. Catch the audio. You think after 402 of these, I'd get this straight?
You'll get it down eventually, man.
I'll eventually catch the videos on Facebook and YouTube. That's the ticket. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Have all the episodes right at your fingertips. Like I always say, Facebook started this thing in the past year of deleting all your live content after 30 days. So YouTube has all the entire archive from number 1 to number 402. Wow. All at your fingertips. So thank you, YouTube. Catch the audio, any audio platform, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, Apple, iTunes, the whole nine. Wherever audio podcasts are found, I'm there. Any questions or comments, please send them to pitlifebbqpodcast@gmail.com. Like always, subscribe, like, rate, and review. Hit that share button. Next week, I am joined by Aaron Huntelman of Go Big or Go Barbecue and also Mr. Brisket out of Cleveland, Ohio. So we'll talk a little competition game with him, little butchery action, and we'll get into the in particulars of the Mr. Brisket competition box package, what that entails. I believe you can switch some things out, but we'll get all those answers with Aaron next week. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next week, keep the smoke rolling.